What's good, YouTube? Swiftly here, back with another NBA 2K25 video. Now in today's video, I'm actually going to be bringing you guys the sweet spot, in my opinion, for attributes in NBA 2K25. Now the reason why I took so long to make this video is because I wanted to really dig deep as far as the attributes and things like that I thought, as far as the sweet spot is for things. Keep in mind that different positions will have different sweet spots. You know what I mean? Like, for example, standing dunk. The sweet spot for a standing dunk for a center or power forward is going to be much different than the sweet spot for, say, a PG or a shooting guard or even a small forward. So that's why I, kind of wanted to wait a little bit longer to see how it felt. And I also wanted to, also have multiple different builds before I, do that and say, oh, well, this or that. I have two PG builds. I have a small forward build. I have 3 center builds. And I also have a shooting guard lockdown build. So, I kind of wanted to wait until after I had multiple builds, multiple positions, and multiple different play styles. If all of my builds are just shooting builds, then I can't really tell you guys what, the real sweet spot is for, say, dunking or finishing, layups, close shots. If all of my builds are inside bigs or inside builds, then I can't really give you, the breakdown of what I think the sweet spot is for shooting, because then I'm not even shooting. So, I wanted to wait until after I had time spent with multiple builds, got multiple builds up to like 95 as well. I have multiple builds that are plus 95. I have multiple builds that are plus 90. And then I have 2 builds, or no, 1 build that's like an 89, which is my lockdown build. My shooting guard build is still at 89. But outside of that, all of my other builds are 90 plus. But with that being said, enough yap. Let's get into the, sweet spot. So for close shot, I'm going to just say that, this is just universal. I think the sweet spot for close shot is like 73. I think that unlocking that bronze paint prodigy badge and then just having just in general a 73 close shot is enough for, scoring down low, being able to score, to the basket. And I'm just talking about just shots down low in the paint. I'm not specifically talking about hook shots or drop step shots or anything like that. I just mean just in general, point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center, just going in the paint with a close shot, whether you're pump faking, whether you're hook shotting, whatever. Just that 73 is just your best bang for buck, regardless of position, weight, height, wingspan, and all of that stuff. I think 73 is the sweet spot. For driving layup, I would say a 70 to 75 ish. I think 70 to 75, 75 being on the safer side, 70 if you're budgeting, but 75 on the safer side, especially because you'll be unlocking that layup mix master badge, which goes a long way, especially if you're like me and you don't like to just go straight up with layups. I'm just so, pre-programmed and conditioned to doing euros and hop steps, euros being my favorite, but also hop steps and whatnot, that I kind of want to have that extra boost for making those types of layups. So I would say 75, especially if you're a guard, PG, shooting guard, small forward, on a wing type of player, definitely 75. If you're looking at a power forward or center, probably you can get by with a 70, but I personally would just go 75 just to be, safe. As for driving dunk, I would say universally 73 is where you want to be, just for that bronze posterizer. It goes a long way. I talk about this in all of my build videos. Any type of badge breakdown as far as posterizer, that you want that bronze posterizer at a minimum, because it's going to help you with dunking in traffic, dunking next to people with an 80, a 90, 95 interior defense. That bronze posterizer has always been a badge that pops on just dunks in traffic, or quote unquote contact dunks. They're not contact dunks in the such that they're not contact dunk animations, but they're contact dunks in the sense that there's somebody next to you when you dunk the ball. I don't call those contact dunks to decipher between the two. I call contact dunks, and then I call those type of dunks where somebody's near you and you're dunking on them. I call those dunks in traffic. So you guys can know the difference between the two. And if you really want to be able to dunk in traffic, you definitely want to have that badge on bronze. So I always try to maintain at least a 73 driving dunk, as well as the dunking animations that are going to come with having a 70 plus driving dunk as well too. But you want that badge so that you can dunk in traffic. I've seen so many people missing dunks because they think that, YouTubers are telling them, oh, you only need a 60 driving dunk. You only need a 60 driving dunk for this package. While that is true, you only need a 65 or a 60 for this driving dunk or this package. You're going to want that 73 for posterizer so that you can actually put those packages to use, because without it, you're going to be dunking and missing. The ball is going to be popping out and whatnot. So you want that 73 driving dunk. Now, at a minimum, as far as the sweet spot goes, yes, a 65 is probably the minimum you want to go, just so that you can trigger dunks consistently. And then, on the higher side, definitely an 80 driving dunk will definitely get things done. But for me, I would say the sweet spot for sure, 73. And then for standing dunk, again, as I said in the intro to this video, for guards, the sweet spot is going to be a little different. For guards, you're going to be wanting to shoot for that 40 or 45 threshold, because that's where you get those standing dunk animations, which is going to trigger and let you dunk on people down low. You're not going to worry about going up with those dumb layups or those dumb close shots that just get swatted or blocked by power forwards and bigs. With that 40 to 45 standing dunk, you're going to actually get those, two-hand dunk animation, those two-hand dunking, standing dunk animations, which goes a long way. And those are much harder to block just because of the animations. They're just kind of like the quick drops off one but the standing variation of those dunks, they're just way, way harder to block, unless you have a high block or really good timing. So that's why you see people always, recommend that you hit that 40 to 45 threshold. And then for the bigs, I'm going to honestly say, you want to go 81 or 90. Really, if you're a center, you really want to be going 90 every single time. Just for gold rise up, it goes such a long way, and it just makes dunking so much easier. And you can always put a +1 on there, get that Hall of Fame rise up if you need to. But I feel like the 90 standing dunk is like the golden standard for centers and power forwards. Obviously if you can't, or you're shooting big, then you can probably lower that to like an 81 for silver rise up, and then just put a +1 on there for gold rise up. But I feel like if you are a center, you shouldn't be running with anything lower than a 90 standing dunk. That's really the sweet spot for me. You can do a lot with just a 90. And then for the post control, I would say, there's different sweet spots for different positions. If you are a big man, a center, power forward, an 87 post control goes a long way. I'm going to put the strength and all of that stuff up just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But 80, let's say 85 strength, right? We're not going to go crazy. 85 strength, 87 post control. You see what you're getting with the 87 post control. You're getting silver unpluckable. You're getting silver hook shot specialist based on what your close shot is. You're getting silver post powerhouse, and you're also getting gold post up poet. And then based on what your mid range is, you're also going to get post fade phenom. So let's say you got a 80 mid range, you're looking at gold post fade phenom with that 87 post control. So again, that 87 post control, it goes a long way. Especially for bigs, you can do a lot with a little. When you see that 87 post control, look at that. These are the badges you're looking at. This is a nice versatility when it comes to having a big. Gold post up poet, which can go to Hall of Fame. Gold post fade phenom, which can go to Hall of Fame. Post powerhouse, which, I mean, if you have a center with a 91 strength, which most bigs are, you're looking at gold post powerhouse. You're not even looking at silver. And then you're looking at silver hook shot specialist, which can also go gold, as well as unpluckable, which can also go gold. So you're looking at, really good bang for your buck for something as low as an 87 post control. 77 is also a nice little budget area where you can go. But I would say for 77, that's more so for like a small forward. 77, you can, you could do a lot with the 77 post control. You know, I'm gonna throw the strength up. Let's say 73, 74. Actually, let's go 84 strength because that's what you need for a Hall of Fame strong handle, right? We'll go 84 strength, 77 post control with an 80 mid range, and you see what you're getting. You're still getting hook shot specialist. You're still getting silver post fade phenom, silver post powerhouse, and silver post up poet as a small forward. Also, again, making you very versatile. So that's where I would say the sweet spots are. 87, 77 is where you want to be shooting for. Anything, you know, lower than power forward, 77 is great. If you are a power forward or center, then I would personally be saying that I would be shooting for an 87, just because that's pretty much your best bang for buck. Unless you're going pure post score, then obviously you would go higher. But as far as sweet spots go, 77 and this 87 is where you want to be. For mid range, I would say that an 84, 85 is really you want to be. 85 just because of the badge of Silver Deadeye. You might as well go 85, but I think based on 2K Labs testing, they said that pretty much the best attribute, like rating, as far as mid-range is like 84. But I would just go 85 just for that Deadeye, especially if you're not going to have a higher 3. If you're going high mid, lower 3, then definitely 85. If you're going to max out your 3 ball anyway, then you can go, you know, 84. It's not going to matter. You're going to have that badge from your 3 attribute anyway, so it won't matter too much. But personally, 85 for sure. Also keep in mind that, you know, this is going to also tie into the jump shot bases that you can get. So, you know, don't think that just because I'm telling you the sweet spot as far as your best, if you're budgeting your build. But if you feel like, well, I need Anthony Davis or I need Chris Bosh base, I need Kevin Durant base, then obviously you should be shooting for way higher than an 85. This is just if you're budgeting. You know, you're going to max out your 3 anyway, so it doesn't matter that you have an 80 or an 81 mid-range, right? So you're maxed that out. Now, well, what about your base? Can you get the base that you want with the 84-3? Then you don't even need to worry about going 85 midi or 83 or 81 midi. But if you know that, oh, I can't get the base I want, I need an 88 mid-range, I need an 88 shot rating, okay, now you know you got to go higher. So that's what I mean by sweet spot. This is just for if you're budgeting your build. And then same thing for, you know, 3. I would say that the sweet spot would probably be an 89. 89 gets you your best bang for buck. You're looking at gold set shot, silver Deadeye, and more importantly, you're going to have silver limitless range, where you can throw a +1 on that and go up to gold and just have the standard. This is like really the gold standard for a 3-point rating. You get some pretty good bases. For me personally, this would get me Kyrie Irving's base, and that's the base I like. So, you know, you can get Devin Booker's base. You can get Allen Iverson's base. Like, those are like the main bases that you see a lot of people recommending as far as Irving and Allen Iverson. Pretty sure you can get Patty Mills as well too. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, because I really don't use Patty Mills. I use Kyrie Irving's for all my builds. So, but I do believe that 89 is high enough to get Patty Mills, if I'm not mistaken. So, again, that's another popular base that people like to use. And it's just the gold standard, you know, silver limitless range, Deadeye. You're looking at gold set shot specialist, which you can slap a +1 on that and get Hall of Fame. It's just a nice sweet spot as far as shooting goes. And then for free throws, I would say 75 to 80. Really, 80 is where you want to go. You know, if you have an 80 free throw, if you know your rating, you know your your animation, you know, you should be shooting nothing less than like 87%, 88% with just an 80 rating. 75, that rating is going to drop. You know, your percentage is going to drop a little bit if you're running with the 75. But I would say for the guards, you know, you want to be, you know, shooting for 80, 85, just because you're going to be more likely to, you know, hit, you know, be shooting free throws. For the bigs, you can get by with 75, but I do want to say that you definitely want to put a free throw on your build. I see so many times in a rec where dudes don't have free throw and they're getting fouled, they're getting hack-a-shacked, all kinds of stuff. You don't want the game to be on the line and you got a 40-something free throw and you're bricking, throwing it directly at the rim, right? Like, so 75 to 80 is really the sweet spot. You don't really want to go anything lower than 75. it's pretty much a coin flip if you're going lower than that, in my opinion, with how shooting is and free throws not having green windows anymore. Uh, Anything lower than 75, you're asking to pretty much, get RNG'd and screwed. 80 and better, you're going to be good for the most part. Moving on to playmaking, pass accuracy again, 78. Anything lower than that is kind of, as far as, just universally, 78 will get you bronze versatile visionary, which we know how crazy the passing lane steals are in this game. Even with them putting out a patch, last update when season 2 dropped, as far as the passing lane steals, they're still a little crazy. They're not as bad as when the game first dropped, but passing lane steals are still kind of a nuisance. So you want that versatile visionary badge, which is going to help you with threading the needle and making those passes without worrying about your passes getting picked off. So 78 is really where your sweet spot is at. Now, after that, it goes based on your position. If you're a big, if you're a guard, if you're a big, you can go 85. If you're a guard, you want to go 87, 91, 94 ish, around that area, general area. But the sweet spot for like a minimum you're budgeting is 78. You really shouldn't be trying to go anything lower than that if you're going to be passing often. Now, my centers, my bigs, you can get away with less than the 78. You can get away with the 75, even a 70, because you're not going to be handling the ball. You're not going to be making a lot of passes. You're usually going to be spacing the floor, or you're usually going to be catching a pass to go up with a dunk, a layup, or something. So pass accuracy is not as important for you, and you can throw outlet passes with low pass rating. So it's not going to, harm you or, completely cook your build. But for everybody else, you're a point guard, you're a shooting guard, you're a small forward, you need to have pass accuracy, and you should have at a minimum of 78. As far as ball handling, again, this varies by position, and whatnot, but I would say 86 is really the sweet spot as far as, dribble animations and SIGs, as far as just badges and just general usefulness. 86 is probably, the sweet spot. Obviously, if you need certain dribble animations or SIGs because you like the ISO, you're an ISO god or whatever, then you really want to be going for a 92. Even though I see this is capped at 91, you really want to be going 92 because that's where like the next set of really good animations and stuff are 90 plus ball handle. But I would say, just overall, universally for any type of position, any type of build, whether you're primary, secondary ball handler, 86 is really kind of where you want to be at in that general ballpark area. Anything lower than that, and you're going to be risking not having good dribble SIGs, not having good badges to get open or to create offense. Just those type of issues is what you would run into when you go like anything lower than that. You're looking at 70 something. Now, as a small forward, power forward, you can get by. Center, you can get by with those type of ratings, but anything lower than that, once you go below 86, 80 and stuff, and you're a guard, primary ball handler, you're asking for trouble. So that's why I would say 86 genuinely is where you want to be around. Speed with ball, same thing. 80 what, 6 I think it is for gold. Lightning launch, I'm just going to bring the weight down some so you guys can see. 86 for gold lightning launch is like really what any guard build should be shooting for at a minimum. Primary on ball guard, PG's really. Shooting guard, if you're not a pure lock, you're actually like a scoring 2 guard, then you need to be shooting for this 86 speed with ball as well too. Gold lightning launch is what you really need. And then you can always throw a +1 on there for Hall of Fame if you need. PGs, you can go 91 off rip and then throw a +1 for like legend or whatever if you need to do that. But 86 is really the minimum sweet spot of what you should be shooting for as a guard. Now, small forwards, you can get away with the 75 because, you're going to be a little bigger, a little stronger, so you will be a little slower. And because of that, you aren't going to have the weight needed to even get to an 86. You're probably going to be just below that, 82, 84, 80-ish. So I'm not even going to tell you guys you need to be shooting for that. 75 is really your sweet spot as far as, dribble sigs, dribble style, and all of that stuff. 75 is really where you want to be shooting for those small forwards, power forwards, those type of builds. Moving on to defense, in my opinion, 82 interior defense. Anything lower than that, you got to be on your game. 82 interior defense is, really nice, but anything lower than that, you have to be a good defender. Not gonna lie to you. You need to be a good defender. You need to know the ins and outs of defense as far as post defense. You need to know how to sag off, pull in the chair. You need to know when to play hands up defense. You need to know when you need to jump. And you need to know this based off the animations. Okay, he drop stepped me and he got this animation. I need to jump. You need to know that. He drop stepped me and didn't get this animation. I can play hands up defense. I'm in front of him. I can play hands up defense. I'm on the side of him. I probably need to jump. You need to know the ins and outs of this game and the animations and all of those things if you're going to be playing with a low interior defense, a 74 interior defense, a 77 interior defense. Now, if you have 80 plus, 82 plus, 85 plus, then you're allowed to make those mistakes. You're allowed to just try to play hands up defense because you have the higher defense to do it. But when you're looking at 82 and below, 80 below, you can't afford to make those mistakes. I have a build with a 74 interior defense. I have a small forward build with a 72, I believe, or something like that defense. And then my shooting guard lockdown is 6'4", 6'5", with a 72 interior defense as well too. And like I said, I know the ins and outs of this game as far as defense is concerned, the animations, when I should be jumping, when I shouldn't be jumping. I'm not just spamming jump. I'm not just spamming hands up. You can't do that. You need to know when to use what and when and how, especially if you're going lower on the attributes as far as defense, the badges and whatnot as well too. So 82 interior defense is pretty nice. I feel like that's where you want to be, whether you're a center or power forward. When you go lower than that or even higher than that, you run the risk of either having too much defense, which I guess technically speaking is no such thing, or you're having too low of defense, and then you're going to struggle if you don't know, how to play really good defense. Moving on to perimeter defense is the same thing. I would say if you aren't that great of a defender, really 85 perimeter defense is the sweet spot. You're going to pretty much get all of these perimeter badges. The only one bases, your strength. If you don't have high strength, then obviously that's going to vary. But you're going to get most of these perimeter badges on silver with just an 85 perimeter defense, which goes a long way. Challenger, on-ball menace, pick dodger, yada, yada, yada. So 85. Now, for those of you who are really good at defense, you know when to let go of L2. You know when to hold L2. You know when to hold R2 and turbo. You know when to, use intense defense. You know when to turbo. You know how to just chase your man with the left stick and just kind of follow them and shadow them so they're not open. If you know the ins and outs of defense like that, then you can go 74. As far as the sweet spot, and just get those bronze badges and still be able to play really good defense. And for those of you who really know how to play defense, you could really go below that. I have my PG build only has a 54 perimeter defense, but because I have high agility, I can stay in front of my man. Because I know the ins and out of defense, I know when to hold L2 and use intense defense. I know when to hold R2 and use my turbo. I have no problem guarding people on the perimeter and stopping them from shooting. So you don't even really need, super high defense. But as far as the sweet spot goes, budgeting for your build and trying to do everything and just make the best all-around build possible, I would say 74 for sure. For guards, and then I would say for a small forward, definitely 85 really, because you're going to want to have higher levels just because you're going to be dealing with people who are going to try to rim run. You're going to be dealing with people who are more likely to have worse shooting but better finishing. So 85 for those small forwards, those power forwards who want high perimeter, and then for the guards, 74 because most of those players are going to be shooters anyway. They're not going to be doing too much rim running unless they're just straight ass at the game. Then they'll probably be doing a lot of rim running. For steal, 73 really is the sweet spot. You want that silver interceptor. That's really the sweet spot. And worst case scenario, you could throw a +1 on there and get gold, but You know, 73 is just where you want for just, you know, lane steals. As far as like playing the passing lanes and getting in there. Now for on ball steals, it really doesn't even matter. I have a build with no steal, 54 perimeter defense, and when you reach, you get those wraparound animations, and you can pluck and poke the ball loose with no steal. I've done it plenty of times. Most people are getting bump steals anyway. There aren't really too many people poking the balls loose and getting those on ball pluck and poke steals anyway. This game is really mostly about passing lane steals and bump steals. So your steal rating isn't even going to matter when it comes to those bump steals, because it's just about lining up and getting the right angle to bump them and bump the ball out their hand. So for on ball steals, it's not going to really matter too much your rating. Your steal rating is more important for playing those passing lanes, because if your steal is not high enough, your guy's just going to wave his hand, fall backwards and stuff. He's not even going to go for the steal. He's not going to jump the pass. If your level of interceptor is too low, you know, bronze, anything higher than silver or higher, you're really going to get a lot of good animations as far as jumping the pass and jumping the lane or whatever. Bronze is okay, you know, but that's more so for, you know, intercepting high passes, those alley-oop passes, those backdoor cuts is really what I use bronze for. I don't really use silver for that. Silver is more so you wanting to snatch those passing lane steals. Then for block, I would say that the sweet spot for block, I would probably go 84. 84 goes a long way. It's going to get you like high flying denier, paint patroller, and all of that stuff based on your speed, your agility, your vertical and interior defense. So 84 is really where you want to shoot for, especially for the bigs, the power forwards. 84 is definitely the sweet spot. Anything lower than that, and you are going to be struggling to get blocks, in my opinion. My first center, or really no, my second center, my interior enforcer has an 84 block, 74 interior defense, and I get around 2 blocks, sometimes 3 blocks a game on that build. It is a little bit more of a struggle with a lower block like an 84 compared to like my other build, which has a 99 block and 89 interior defense. I get way more blocks on that build, but I also have a longer wingspan. I'm also taller at 7'1". All of these things play a part in getting blocks and whatnot, getting stops. But I would say 84 is like, you know, to consistently get blocks, at least 1 or 2 blocks a game, to consistently get stops and make it harder to score. 84 block for sure is where you want to be going. You know, as a big, obviously as a small forward guard, you know, you're obviously going lower than that, because you probably can't even get an 84 on most guard builds at 6'3", 6'4". So, you know, definitely not for, you know, guard builds, but for, you know, bigs and whatnot. And then for the rebounding, I'm going to say 85. We're probably going to have to go a little higher right here. I'm going to say 85 for the O board. And then I'm going to say 92 for the D board. And I'm only saying that just because this is just like your staple rebounding stats. 92 with goal rebound chaser, 85 for the O board. Because most of the time as a big, you're probably going to be at the 3-point line, or you're going to be setting the screen on offense. So you're not even really going to even be in position to get the O board anyway. But if you're a pure inside big, then obviously you will have that positioning to get the O board. D board again as well too. 92 is really, you know, the meta. People aren't really going anything lower than 92, especially on builds that don't have O board. If you have a big that doesn't have O board at all, then you're really going to see 92 as far as D board. Anything lower than that, you run the risk of getting horsed. Even though I would say that it really all depends on your positioning. When it comes to rebounding, positioning is everything. Boxing out is everything. But sometimes those rebound ratings will help. The rebound badges will help. Help you out rebound somebody, even if, you know, they have better positioning than you. They're better at boxing out than you. Sometimes those ratings will, you know, come to your aid and your rescue. And then finally for our physicals, the speed, I would say it varies. For bigs, I would say 65 to 70 is really the sweet spot for the bigs. Just so that you can get back on defense. getting up and down the floor. It's nothing worse than a big with like 40 speed that can't get up and down. They're getting free buckets on the inbound and stuff like that. Whether you're playing park or proving grounds, pro-am, whatever, rec, it is annoying to see. So 65 really is the sweet spot. 60 to 65 is really what you want to be shooting for. Anything lower than that, and you're just going to be molasses getting back on defense. And then for, the guards and the wings, I would say 80 to 85. 80, 85 is really what you want. Anything lower than that, you're going to be running the risk of just absolutely getting, cooked as well. And then for, agility, I would say the same thing. 55 to 60 for bigs, really the sweet spot. Really, if you can go higher than that, if you can go 65, 60, really that's where you really want to be. Because agility, I tell you guys, is so important. It's how you play defense. It's how you're going to stay in front of your man on the perimeter and whatnot. Agility is more important than perimeter defense as far as staying in front of your man. And then also, for the guards, 80, 85, just because it's going to dictate to how quickly you can burst, and quickly you can move, from being stopped to just moving. That's going to come into play, your acceleration and how quickly you can burst with and without the ball, but definitely without the ball is going to play a key part in your defense, which is why I always tell you guys, if you want to play good defense, you always have to go agility. Always agility. Always agility. I tell you guys this in every video. Speed, north-south, agility, east-west, and agility is going to help you tremendously when it comes to playing defense. It's going to help you tremendously. So you want that agility over, speed, if I would say. I value agility more than I value speed. I value agility more than I value speed with ball. Agility is just that much important to me. So, that's where I'm at with that. For strength, I would say 84 really is the minimum, sweet spot. Anything lower than that, you are just going to get cooked, especially as a big. You don't want to go anything lower than 84. For small forwards, 84. For bigs, I would say 91. Anything lower than 91, you are just going to get backed underneath the rim and dunked on and drop stepped over and over and over again. And there's not going to be anything you can do about it, 91 strength is really what any center should be running with at a minimum. That's the sweet spot at a minimum. Obviously, you can go higher. You can go 95. You can go 96. You can go 99. But a minimum of 91 for centers, power forwards, small forwards, 84. And then guards, you can go like a 73. 73, 74, I'm not mad at as far as a PG shooting guard type of build. Nothing wrong with that. And then for the vertical, I would say it depends on the build and what you're trying to do. 70 is really nice as far as the sweet spot goes. You could do a lot with 70. Contact dunks, it could be from 75 to 90. If no contact dunks, 75 to 90 for contact dunks, various contact dunks. If no contact dunks, but you have block and rebounding on your build, I would say 80 is pretty nice as well too. But again, like I said, it depends on what your build is. I tell you guys this all the time in my build videos. If I don't have at least 2 out of these 3, if I don't have rebounding, block, and dunking is what vertical is really useful for. If I only got dunking, but I don't have rebounding and blocking, I'm not going crazy high on the vertical. If I only got rebounding, but no, block, no dunking, I'm not going crazy high. If I got high rebounding, high block, I'm going to go a little bit crazy on the vertical just because I know that I got 2 different attributes that is going to directly benefit from that vertical. But if I only got 1, or I got a build that don't got no dunking, no blocks, no rebounding, what am I putting vertical on? You're not going to get any benefits from putting a vertical on a build that doesn't have dunking, blocks, or any of that. So there's really no purpose to doing that. So I personally wouldn't recommend that. But obviously, it really depends on your build. But here you have it. These are my sweet spots for attributes in NBA 2K25. Please leave a comment down below. Let me know what your sweet spots are. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? And if you do disagree, let me know your reasoning as to why you disagree, and let me know what your sweet spots are, in reply to that. Whether you want higher rebounding, lower steal, higher ball handling, let me know down below in a comment. Please be sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe for more NBA 2K25 content. I'm out, y'all. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.